A man walks up a sandy bank on a small island, looking for his family. He has been away for 3 years. The houses are gone. More than 100 people are gone. He finds a word. People say it was cut into a tree. Almost. The whole word was cut into a wooden post. On a tree nearby, there were only 3 letters. The word was CROATOAN. The letters were C-R-O. This is Roanoke Island, in 1590. To understand it, we have to go back 3 years. In 1587, English ships crossed the Atlantic to build a colony. A colony is a settlement made by people from another country. About 115 came. Sources do not agree on the exact number. They were not soldiers. They were families, with tools and seeds, hoping to farm. Their governor, their leader, was an artist named John White. White had sailed to this coast before, and painted its land and its people carefully. This time he brought his daughter, Eleanor, who was expecting a child. They had meant to settle further north, in Chesapeake Bay. The pilot of the fleet refused to take them. So they stopped at Roanoke, where England had already tried, and failed, to settle. On the 18th of August, 1587, Eleanor gave birth to a daughter. They named her Virginia Dare. She is remembered as the first English child born in the Americas. But the colony was already in trouble. They had arrived too late to plant. Supplies, the food and goods you need to live, were running low. They asked White to sail home for help. He did not want to go. He left on the 27th of August, 9 days after his granddaughter was born. Before he sailed, they made an agreement. If they moved, they would carve the name of the new place on a tree or a post. And if they were forced to move, in danger, they would carve a cross above the name. White reached England. Then England went to war with Spain. In 1588 the Spanish Armada sailed, and the Queen kept every useful ship at home. He did try. In April 1588, he set out with 2 small ships. French ships attacked them at sea. White was wounded, the supplies were taken, and they turned back. 3 years passed. At last he found a place on a ship going west. Not a rescue ship. A privateer, an armed private ship hunting Spanish cargo in the Caribbean. They reached the coast in August 1590. The sea was rough. A small boat turned over in the surf, and the captain and 6 of his men drowned. 7, before anyone reached land. On the 18th of August, John White landed on Roanoke. It was Virginia Dare's 3rd birthday. He walked up the sandy bank in the morning light. On a tree at the top of the bank, 3 letters had been cut into the bark. C-R-O. He knew at once what they meant. That was the signal. The houses had been taken down. In their place stood a palisade, a tall fence of tree trunk set upright in the ground. Inside it, nothing. Nobody. On one of the palisade posts, about 5 feet from the ground, the bark had been cut away. There, in clear capital letters, was the whole word. CROATOAN. And no cross. No sign of distress, of danger, or trouble. White wrote it down himself, almost with joy. They had not been taken. They had chosen to go. CROATOAN was an island to the south, called Hatteras today. It was home to the CROATOAN people, and to Manteo, who had sailed to England and come back. Of all places, it was the safe one. The next morning, they would sail there. Then the weather turned. An anchor was lost, a ship nearly ran aground, and the captains turned for open sea. White never saw his family again. The best evidence points one way. English pottery from the 1500s has been dug up at a site 50 miles inland. English objects have turned up in a CROATOAN village on Hatteras. But the dates are still argued over. The Dare stones, carved with Eleanor Dare's supposed words, are thought to be forgeries, fakes made to deceive. So we do not know. But there was no cross. If this story stretched your English, stay with the channel. Next time, 3 lighthouse keepers vanish from a rock in the Atlantic, and the light goes out.